Okay, so there's something that just a thought that's occurring to me and I'm processing as you're talking about this, and I'd like to run it by you and see what you have to say. A person's perspective is going to have a very strong impact on how they perceive the world. Sometimes that perception that they have will develop in response to something that did really happen at some point, and that sets them off on a track of looking at things a particular way or viewing things a particular way. And maybe, they feel like, well, it is true because look what happened, and therefore it makes sense that I'm looking at the whole world this way. And maybe an important part of this process could be for them to understand that, yes, that negative thing did happen, and I do have, let's say, a valid, critique or negative view of that thing that happened, and it makes sense to look at it that way, but then recognize that that doesn't therefore translate onto everyone and everything and mean that that's, the way that the whole world works, and therefore I have to perceive everything else that way.
That's absolutely true, because there can be legitimate things that a person experienced that were very difficult. It could be your parents, your surroundings, your teachers, your friends, whoever it was, maybe early on in life, did something, or you perceived something, and you began looking at yourself and the world in a particular way. But one of the things that I think we have to understand at a certain point is that your history doesn't have to shape your destiny. The experiences that happen to us don't have to be, and shouldn't be, in many instances, a life sentence for this is just the way my life is going to continue going forevermore. And it's kind of like the concept of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you now agree that whatever the person may have done to you was the correct thing, or like you're whitewashing it and pretending like it didn't happen. That's not forgiveness. Forgiveness means that, yes, what happened perhaps was terrible, but I'm not going to let that control my life. Forgiveness isn't really about the other person. Forgiveness is something that happens to us internally, something that we can utilize internally, that person is not going to take up rent, is not renting from me free of charge for the rest of my life. If a person isn't happy, isn't living with a sense of well-being, doesn't feel good about life, oftentimes that can be adjusted. And the adjustment starts not by necessarily changing where you are and what you're doing. It starts with an internal discovery, an internal journey. And that helps shape the world and zero in on where our purpose lies.